Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh Polly, it's for your sake alone. I left my dear old father, my country and my home. I left my dear old mother to weep and to mourn. I am a rebel soldier and far from my home. It's grape shot and musket and the cannon lumber loud. There's many a mangled body, the blanket for their shroud. There's many a mangled body left on the fields alone. I am a rebel soldier and far from my home.
Okay, thanks for joining me here in the broadcast. I'm your host, James White. It is the 7th day of November. There's Pam. 7th day of November, 2020. Thanks so much for joining us here on the broadcast. This Critical Disclosure Radio brought to you by Northwest Liberty News. If everything's working properly, we should be simulcasting on quite a few networks now. I think 7 or 8. We're on a couple of YouTube channels, a couple of Facebook pages, Twitch, and others. And let me bring Pam on here in a second. And we certainly appreciate you supporting us. You can go to the flagship Northwest Liberty News to do so. So let me pop over here to this screen here. First of all, let me bring Pam on. She just joined us here on the Zoom, and we'll have her popped in here in a moment. There's Pam. Okay, excellent. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Pam on here. We're going to go to this screen right here, and then we will pop her in to the picture, and we'll be on our way. There we go. You know what? Let me make this full screen actually, and I think it's probably gonna go away when I do that. Yeah, let me redo it again because it goes away when I do that. Forgot to do that first. Yeah, that window. If you could block it or something a little bit, if you could, that'd be great. Yeah. There we go.
Make it go the other way so the thing goes up. There we go. Let's see if that works. Not better. No, the other way.
Well, we'll get it all worked out. We'll get it worked out. Anyway, Pamela Olson, founder of Save Our Children. Thank you so very much for being here on the broadcast. I was just talking about you yesterday, I think, in one of my shows. Yeah, I recommended someone to email you. And I don't know if they did. Probably a lot of people email you, I'm sure. But yeah, you do some great work out there. And I always certainly like to highlight the fact that it may be more since I talked to you last, but I think it's like 1,740 children have been walked back to their homes since with your involvement and the involvement of your colleagues. Pamela Olson, founder of Save Our Children. It's always great to have you here. Thanks so much for being on Critical Disclosure Radio.
Good morning, James. Thank you so much for having me on. And I've got to say, if people did not watch or listen to the Van Kleist interview from yesterday, please do. My gosh, what a great interview.
Oh, Dave Van Kleist. Yeah, Dave Van Kleist. Well, thanks. Yeah, I tell you, the guy is really... These guys are so talented. I mean, he's really talented musician, and he's got all these different impersonation voices that he just comes up with. And I'm encouraging him to continue to move forward with it. And we may even do some more of these. Like we talked about, we got these shows here, these time slots available. So he's really got a heart for helping children as well, for sure. So it's all we all need to work together, Pamela, because I think what we're going to find out here soon, I mean, this is, folks, what you see is going on here with this voter fraud and everything that's being exposed in the news here. I'm telling you, that's just the layers of the onion are going to keep getting peeled back further and further and further and further. And I can guarantee you it's going to end up with child trafficking, with CPS and Family Court involved. I'm making that statement right here, and I've said it before. That's the currency they deal in. It is, was, and will always be about the children. That's my view on it, Pamela. Do you care to comment on that before we kick things off and get going?
Well, I'm going to back you up in that statement because I have knowledge. They told us, DOJ, military intel, Rudy Giuliani today, Pam Bondi yesterday. These people are telling us what we need to hear. I know a lot of people woke up this morning and went, oh, crud. Okay, Biden is our president. No, he's not. No one has certified him. He does not fully have certified 270. We were told they were going to announce that this guy was going to win. With everything we see going on, it is logical, deductive reasoning that we are correct in what we're seeing. These people are absolutely panicked. Why? Because they have literally turned our children into currency, and then they turned us into currency. So this is something that I'm asking everyone, take a deep breath, keep calm this weekend, wait. We have several judicial actions, including a SCOTUS one, that will not even be heard until Monday. So everyone, please be kind to one another, be kind to your neighbors. Let's stay calm. Monday, we're going to know what we're really looking at here. So everyone just take a deep breath, okay? Here's my rally cry for everyone. It's not us against one another. It is us against the great they. What do I mean by the great they? CPS workers, their supervisors, administrators, these judges in these common law admiralty monarchical courts. And if that sounds like something out of the Navy, you're not wrong. That's exactly where you can find admiralty court. Whether it's all the way up to SCOTUS, the entire American populace right now is being treated to what it feels like emotionally, mentally, and physically to be in a CPS case. We can't go out and buy what we want because we can't work. We can't work because we're under COVID. We can't go and worship. We can't live our normal day-to-day lives. Children are being forced to wear masks, stay inside. If they do get to go to school, they have to social distance. I mean, folks, this doesn't get any more emotionally damaging. This is exactly what a CPS case feels like. And if you're anxious and your head is spinning and you're constantly in emotional flux, folks, this is what CPS and family law does to good Americans every day.
It's domestic terrorism, Pamela.
It really is.
Domestic,
it's emotional and mental abuse.
It is.
It really is.
Domestic terrorism in its truest form.
Yeah.
And that's why I've done, gee whiz, hundreds of shows, talked to hundreds more of parents. You've, as we stated here, about 1,740 children back. You're constantly talking to parents. Folks, this is such an enormous problem, and I could come on here and do shows, and I did for a long time. Every day I did shows about this, back to back to back, and I think some progress was made, but still, I think the mentality still is, CPS came and took your children. What'd you do to deserve that? I mean, what did you do? Really? No, really. Be truthful with us. What'd you really do? And we just know that that's just not the case. I mean, that's just not the case. It's set. That's a feature. That's a feature of their organization. It's not an anomaly. However, I think that we got some hope. I really do. I mean, this is not all doom and gloom. I think that Family First Act, I think that is going to be going to be implemented, even though they've been doing some delays and punting the ball down. I can tell you one thing in Montana, that is probably going to be accelerated at a much faster rate than it would have been if we would have had, the Republicans pretty much swept just about everything here in Montana. It was a no BS mandate for these scoundrel Democrats, and the rhinos should be take notice. I'm not going to put up with it anymore. We're done. And I think that's one of the things that's going to come out of this is this Family First Act in Montana is going to get put on the fast track. And when that happens, then, as you were telling me before, I haven't read the whole thing, you have, then that guarantees trial by jury for these parents. If they have their children are going to be taken away from them, they have a right to have a jury of their peers to hear their case, give their own evidence, call witnesses in their defense, just like a normal person should. Crazy. Right. They're going to follow the Constitution. Can you care to comment on that, Pamela?
Well, and this is where a lot of people get confused. So let me just clear this up, because so many parents just get frustrated when I say, well, that's great that you know your constitutional rights. Too bad you're not fighting in a constitutional court over the most precious thing we own. These are not cars. These are not homes. These are not businesses. These are our children, our flesh and blood that we carry with our bodies. Why on earth would you not give a jury trial if you're going to take somebody's live child away from them and adopt it out, severing that entire family bond? Because it's not just the parents have a bond to that child. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. I mean, they have an entire family structure. So for CPS to condemn an entire family as unfit to have their children, that's a heck of an indictment. And I'd like somebody a little bit more than 36 hours and a GED to make that determination for me.
It's like pre-crime. It's like,
Right.
we know you're going to commit these crimes. I mean, we saw everybody, remember that movie? What was that movie with Tom Cruise where they had the people
Minority
floating around?
Report.
Yeah, Minority Report. These people floating in the tank that could see pre-crime, and they would arrest people before they committed the crime. And you think, oh, that's crazy. That's a Tom Cruise movie. That's dystopic. Oh, really? Oh, really? No, that's how
operates.
That's exactly how it operates. They just don't have the people in the tank. Maybe they do somewhere, but I never see them. Anyway, they don't need them because they're effective one way or another. Because I can't tell you, because when people find out CPS are coming, it strikes terror in their heart. I mean, they're terrified.
As well it should.
They're terrified.
Can
Right.
you imagine if
Well, it
showed up at your
shouldn't,
door?
it should, but it shouldn't. I'll let you finish. It shouldn't, because when the people fear the government, it's tyranny. When the government fear the people, it's liberty. So it really shouldn't strike the fear, but it does. Correct. Please continue.
Right. So what do you do for that fear not to grip your heart? Have the information. Once you have the information, there's nothing to be afraid of. I see you are this person. I don't recognize your common county authority over me. You're non-oathed, you're non-licensed, you're non-certified. The police officer that is with you, or if there isn't one, get on the phone and get one there. I'll let this licensed oath person, because now I've got somewhere to go if he or she does not do her job. And most of these police officers, and I'm going to say it, most of these police officers will tell the caseworker, there's no crime here. That's 98% of the time, 92 to 98% of the time, depending what year we're looking at, according to AFCARs, there is no crime committed. There's no chargeable crime. So what is CPS doing? They are charging these parents, and then nothing happens for almost a year. So they've got these felony charges sitting over them, and that's what keeps the CPS case open. It is sick. It is a double bookend, and it completely annihilates a family's wealth, their trust in the government, the trust in one another. But before you know it, CPS has got you, tearing at each other's throats. Folks, that's the very definition of a psyop. To take from what you are naturally and turn you into what they need you to be so they can steal your property. And why do they want to steal your property? It's very simple. Title IV funds. They want the money. It's just that simple.
Well, let me ask you a question, Pamela. In your experience, what percentage of these people that are working in this diabolical child kidnapping network, what percentage of them do you think know what's going on and could go do it anyway? Or some of them, they kind of know what's going on, but they turn their head the other way. And then some of them that has no idea what's going on. I mean, where do you think, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's the one extreme where they do it with pleasure because they want those thick envelopes of cash. Other ones say, man, I know this is wrong, but I want to keep my job. So I'm just going to turn my head and not say anything. And then other people that are just oblivious.
My answer to this may upset some people, but facts are facts. Facts are sticky things. There's no emotion in facts, okay? When a caseworker is hired on, regardless their educational background or where they came from, whether they were a barista or a school teacher, we have all kinds that go into CPS because these people really do care about, or think that they care about protecting children. Once they're in it, it's almost like being in a McDonald's. It then becomes franchisable, and it is just shoving people through a process. So these caseworkers get stuck in that. Within 3 years, if they have not left CPS, they're indoctrinated. They're in. It's all about the money for them. I would say lately, from what I'm hearing from caseworkers that were ex-caseworkers, supervisors, MSWs, administrators are now leaving because the mandate is keep these open at all costs because you can't adopt them out. That way we're seeing these 18-month, 24-month, 32 months. And they know they can't adopt those children out because they don't have the evidence. So they're dragging these out. I have got more complex cases. Ohio, Pennsylvania, Montana. We know the one in Montana. These complex cases are made so by too many people throwing in too many different narratives, and they literally will punish the person with the children. And then they say, well, we have all this stuff flying around and we've got to, get this bag of snakes all laid out. They have 72 hours. 72 hours to do an investigation. If in 72 hours, none of those severe allegations stick, they are to bring you back your children. That is just protocol. That is normal protocol. So if they're not doing a full investigation and they're saying, oh, well, that'll be done when we see you at the next court in 30 days. That's when you call the police and you have them come in and you have them do their own investigation so that you've got something to take to that. Unfortunately, the process sticks you in certain areas where your hands are tied. They have got you hogtied, folks. Have you ever seen a calf get roped? Okay. They capture you, wrap you up, and you stay there until they start cutting the ropes. And this is what parents are feeling. This is what grandparents are feeling. Thank God under FFPA, grandparents have more rights than they do under ASFA, which ASFA's been gutted by half. The problem here is no state is picking up FFPA until 2022, and they're paying the fine for it. You would think that would have already been challenged. Obviously, we had bigger fish to fry. What is going to topple this entire thing? This process right here. The president knows, Bill Barr knows. Not that I'm overly thrilled with Bill Barr right now, but I have a feeling there are plans that none of us know about that I'm just going to wait and see what's going to happen Monday.
I think you're right. Now I know, Pamela, we've got two people already on the call-in line. I know we were going to, you wanted to cover some things before we took some calls. I don't know if, you want to go ahead and call us if you're on the line. Just go ahead. I'll answer the calls in the order that they came in.
Okay.
But we're going to let Pamela.
I want to give everyone a little bit of comfort.
Go ahead.
We've heard from Rudy Giuliani. We've heard from Pam Bondi. We've got SCOTUS. We've got Alito that is now put out, Justice Alito, 2 different orders to Pennsylvania. And they just called Pennsylvania for Biden, which over the weekend, gave it to him in the MSM. Is he certified? No, he's not. How many states have certified for Joe Biden? A handful. Connecticut, Vermont, Maryland, places like that. This is far from over. So take a deep breath, remember what you know, and really hear what those in authority right now are saying to us. This is what the process is. They're not promising us any difference. What they're promising us is we have 4 different judicial processes going on in 4 different states, and we have 1 SCOTUS review that's going to happen Monday. So please do not jump to conclusions until you have all the information. And that goes the same for CPS case. Do not presume. Don't get too jumpy, and really wait for the information to come out, because that's when it becomes actionable.
Right on. Do you want to go ahead and take calls? You want to?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. That's what we'll do. We'll take calls.
Let's hear what the folks are thinking.
Okay. If call-in line is 515-602-9732, as you can see it there in the middle of the screen. If you're on the video portion of the program, 515-602-9732. And let's take our first caller here.
Hello.
Hello, caller. Thanks for calling into the show. You're live. Please state your first name and what state you're calling from.
So my name is Matthew. I'm calling from Ohio.
Hello, Matthew from Ohio. Have you called to the show before?
Yes, I called yesterday, actually. He told me to just call back.
That's right. That's why you sound familiar. That's right, Matthew. Very good. Excellent. So go right ahead. You have the floor.
Yeah, so yesterday I think I made it sound like my children were taken, but what I was saying was that they didn't take my children. They had them they were requesting custody of them on the court order because my son was sick. Well, my son had allergies. He had severe allergies, which is a very complex medical condition. So what I was saying that I think they didn't take my children because of that, because they didn't know how to take care of them. When they took us to the hospital for 4 days, he lost weight, actually. So I don't know if they got spooked with that. I don't know. I really don't know what was going on. But even the doctor lied in the situation. But what I really wanted to talk about is where I am now. And right now, we even got the paperwork for our adjudication hearing. And in that, there is this, there is still this false narrative that they're projecting. And so where I am right now, I've talked to the police, I've talked to the DA, everyone, and I talked to the county commissioners, but everyone seems to want to push it under the rug. So I'm wondering if anyone, Pamela or anyone, can kind of just guide me into the next step, because I want to fight this. Like I said, I want to join you guys in the fight, but at the same time, I want to focus on my city here in Mount Vernon, Ohio, and then maybe go national. But I definitely want to focus here, because the fact that my children have not been taken, I think gives me that boldness and that confidence to fight them. I know maybe many parents don't want to fight because their children are taken, but my children aren't taken. So I feel like it would be irresponsible for me to just say, well, they didn't take my children, so I think I should be fine. That's what they're trying to do. They're saying, well, we didn't take your children, so. But I'm like, it's still an attempt at kidnapping, to me, in my opinion. So I'm wondering, like, what would be, like, what's the next step, or how do I move forward?
Oh, I'm a little confused. Number one, you still have your
Okay.
children, but yet you have
Yes,
a
I still have my
jurisdiction
children.
hearing coming up.
Sorry, say that
Is that
again.
right? Hello?
Hello? Yeah, say that again.
You're facing a jurisdiction hearing coming up, but you still have your children at home?
No, I already did the adjudication. I think that's a jurisdiction. We call it adjudication here in Ohio, or Mount Vernon at least. And they're going for the dispositional coming up next.
So
And
what's the goal of their next hearing that you're having? What is their goal? What do they want to do, or what do they want to prove in then the very next hearing that's coming up?
I think right now, when I got my attorney, I think now they're trying to say that my children are dependent. So they're not neglect, they're not abused, but they're dependent, meaning we're still a danger to them. And on the paperwork, it says that we have temporary custody of our children.
Okay,
They're still coming after you, basically.
Right. So
Okay.
the best thing you can do, you have to prove their narrative wrong and why it's wrong. So how do you prove that? You prove that through your normal pediatrician,
That's what you say.
through your child's historical medical
You got to let
record?
Pamela talk. Hold on, Pamela.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. I had to mute out his microphone. Go ahead and start over.
Okay, I'm so sorry. He's so hard to hear. I was having a hard time hearing him. So sorry. Matthew, you need to use everything that you have to prove that the narrative is incorrect. And what I would do is I would call a specialist within your child's medical condition that they're currently citing, and have that person literally do what's called a medical review. They don't see the child, they just look at the records and give their opinion. You want to make sure that they are AAIC certified, abuse versus accident certification, because there is a difference between abuse versus a child that's taken a fall because they've just learned to walk, or they're just learning how to get on roller skates, or the many myriad of things that children get, small bruises and bumps and little eggshells on their, goose eggs on their head. All three of my kids had it. And if that makes you a bad parent, well, then I guess I'm a bad parent. My kids had all that. So once you prove that, along with any pictures, any labs, anything that you can produce, that jurisdictional hearing should go in your favor as long as that proof is filed within the case for that hearing.
Does that make sense, Matthew?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Sorry, I didn't mean to speak over. What I was trying to say is that I was excited because I heard Pamela used to say, or I hear her say, prove the perjury in court.
Mm-hmm.
And I have so much proof that they have a false narrative. And we've already did all the tests. We've already did everything. My thing is that we're fighting against them so that they don't do this to other parents and other children. And I'm trying to see where we go from there, because I think what they're doing is they're trying to just cover it up. I think they know they made a mistake. We have them where we kind of want them, and they're kind of trying to just push things aside and push things along and say, oh, okay, nothing's wrong. We're not going to take your kids. Just do as we say, and we'll be out of your life. But I'm just saying, no, I'm going to fight this.
Well, Pamela, do you have a Save Our Children chapter there in Ohio that Matthew could reach out to?
There's unfortunately, there's so many great people that I've worked with, but they are so spent by the time they're through their process that many of those parent advocates just don't continue. There are quite a few parents in Ohio right now that are going through what Matthew's going through. So I think what I may do is put all of my Ohio people into one chat room so you guys can shore one another up and share information and stratagems. I can fly in every now and again and give you guys some help. I would love nothing more than for there to be a parent advocate in every single state. This process so thoroughly screws your head up, terrifies you, and turns you into a fearful Auschwitz survivor that quite literally trying to function, much less help anybody else with their stuff, is overwhelming. And I understand that, and I don't judge it. I get it. If you're spun, please don't try and help another parent. Other parents have said, look, I'm so spun on mine, I am deadly on other parents, and we have that on the East Coast and here on the Pacific Northwest. So I end up helping the parent that's ending up helping everybody else. And we've got those scenarios too. So let's start cobbling together. If we don't stand up and unite, this isn't about R's and D's, guys. We're so beyond that. This entire election is about our children. I need everybody to understand that. From what they're doing to them, to the 800,000 that have gone missing since 1998 that go missing every year, which is a statistical anomaly, to how many children CPS is now picking up and turning into complex cases that just go on forever and ever with no rhyme or reason, all the way to adoption. This entire system is about money, and they're trading that money like our children are baseball cards.
Okay,
and all they're doing is leaving trauma in their wake, because it's the only way thugs and mafia people know to keep them under our system. You ever heard of an insurance scam, fire scam? Guy comes in and, you know, lights something on fire. You better pay him his $500 a week, or you're not going to have a business. This is CPS. This is how they function.
Well, Matthew, I tell you what, take we got other callers, so I'm going to let you go, but take Pamela's email address down, saveourchildrenca@gmail.com, and mark on there you're from Ohio. Then what, you know, in the subject line or something, and then she can connect you up with her other people that she has there in Ohio, because I think that's an excellent idea. Putting, because some of the other parents are going to have knowledge about things that Matthew doesn't have, and then Matthew's done some research on areas that he will provide, positive information and stuff for other parents. I mean, that's how we're going to win this, folks. It's not apart. It's together. That's the only way we're going to defeat these people, because they are evil incarnate. Believe me when I tell you that. Matthew, we're going to have to let you go. Thanks so much for calling in.
Yep, thank you. God bless.
Take care. God bless you, man. Okay, Pamela, we got another call here. Looks like it's a Montana call. We'll take that call here and find out what city from Montana. Caller, you're live on the air. I know you're from Montana. I know the area code. What city are you calling from?
I'm calling from Great Falls.
Hello.
I have called you before.
Yes, John. Hello, John.
This is John Walton.
Hello, John.
I'm the guy that they keep throwing in jail for mouthing off about their malfeasance. Say, a while ago at a previous legislature, we got a law passed that allows for our senators and representatives of the state, if they receive a request from a constituent, they have the right to review that DFS file. Very few of the legislators have been able to do that. Jeremy Clevis here in Great Falls has one, and but there's a legislator down in Billings, Roger Webb, friend of mine. He asked to review a file, and they have a lawyer up there in headquarters called Mark Pritchard, Pritchard. He's kind of nuts. But anyway, he told Roger, sure, you can review the file, but by the time you get here, it's going to be so redacted that all you can do with it is wipe your ass with it. And that's pretty close to a quotation. Mr. Pritchard has been transferred over to the justice system, but he's still there. But we should try that, We've got some legislators now that are some pretty good hands. We've got a governor that is a hell of a good hand. And most important of all, our Attorney General, Austin Knudsen, from over in the eastern part of the state. I know that young man, and he will get it done. It's just a matter of time till he gets there. But I have high hopes that some of our legislators will put in some requests for review, and if they are turned down or insulted like Roger was, Austin Knudsen has the power, the knowledge, and ability to line them right out. And I'd like to see a bunch of them go down the road talking to themselves. So anyway, you keep up the good work there, Mr. White.
Thank you, sir.
I've got your 6 down here, and let's get this done.
Well, John, I can guarantee you.
Oh, and the family.
Go ahead.
The family first. I attended a committee hearing up there, both Democrats and Republicans, and they discussed this and that, and let me shoot off my mouth a little bit. And at the end of their hearing, they were in total agreement, unanimously, to immediately implement that Family First Act. But Bullock and his cronies got a 2-year extension somehow. That should be expired by now. So we need to get after that. That's not all that great, but it's a lot better than what we have got. So there you go, Mr. White.
Thanks, John. And I can guarantee you one thing. I can guarantee you that there's going to be some sweeping changes in the whole system here coming up pretty soon. So you can take that to the bank, brother. Mark this day down. I guarantee it. So just stand the line, man. Hold the line. Hold the line. It's all going to be changing here pretty soon. I appreciate you calling in, John. Thanks so much for having my 6.
And I want to pick up on something that John said, because he's absolutely correct. I had to, the first time that I heard it, and I went, you can call a legislator to review your CPS case to make sure that this is a righteous case. This was new information to me. So I went through all 50 states and looked at their legislative policy and procedure. Gee, isn't it funny how everything has P&P? And it's all on the internet because they work for us. I know it doesn't feel that way, but they work for us. So they have to put the information there. Find your P&P of your state legislator and look at everything they're supposed to be offering you, their constituent. If you can't get your representative for your county or your specific city or your specific district, keep going. Go all the way up to your senator. Senator Farnsworth, Senator Keenan, 2 great heroes in my book. One's from Farnsworth, Arizona. Keenan is the great state of Montana, which I'm so proud of. That state's people have stood up and shown America, as they have in Wisconsin, as they have in Pennsylvania, as they have in Arizona, as they have in Nevada, as they have in California, as they have in New York. We are standing up and showing them, you know what? This is no longer about an ideology. This is now about the soul of our nation. And if we don't all stand up and unite together and say, you know what? It doesn't matter who you are. You're still an American. We may look different, but we all bleed the same. And we're Americans. And if we don't stand up and back each other's play right now, we're finished as a unified nation. Not that we were that unified to begin with. Call me hopium, call me optimistic. We're far from over. Americans don't lay down and just give away their children, their treasure, their blood, and their freedoms for something as silly as ideology, especially when it comes out child sex trafficking. CPS is one of the major traffickers. The Clintons, the Bidens. I'm sorry if you don't want to hear this. There are as many Mitt Romneys, McCains. They're on both sides. It's us versus them. I don't support the GOP or the DNC. I am normally a libertarian. This year, I signed up as a Republican so I could vote for president. I could have very easily, if Trump would have been DNC, I would have gone DNC. I'm voting for the person I have faith in, not the party that they're in. And I think most libertarians probably sound like me.
People aren't going to believe it.
Because we don't have a party anymore. Democrats certainly don't have a party. Where is the party of JFK? Where is the party of Ronald Reagan? They don't exist anymore because that's how convoluted and rhinos and liberal progs in our government are that powerful, which is why CPS is still a problem. That's their main backdoor oceans of money, folks. Understand one is connected to the other. Everything is bookend. They've got us set up like a pachinko machine. Drop the ball and it always ends up in the same spot. That's the very definition of insanity, folks. And that's why this is so hard to go through. You're not nuts. They are. We're just reacting to it.
Yeah, right. Right on. Well, Pamela, we're going to take a quick commercial break here. And we got other callers here on the line. We come back, we'll take those other callers. The number to call in is 515-602-9732. 515-602-9732 to talk to the one and only Pamela Olson, founder of Save Our Children. Folks, I haven't heard a question that she doesn't know the answer to. I mean that, and this is hundreds and hundreds of questions, because she's well studied and she gets results, and we're delighted to highlight her on this broadcast. We're going to take a quick commercial break, come back on the other side with Pamela Olson. I'm James White from Critical Disclosure and Northwest Liberty News.
PatriotPrepared.com carries the leading brands of storable food from Legacy and Heaven's Harvest. Patriot Prepared. Our name says it all. We're dedicated to empowering you to be self-reliant and confident in any circumstance. Whether you want to be prepared in the event of an emergency or you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, PatriotPrepared.com has prepackaged meals and kits for your entire family. Legacy, Heaven's Harvest are known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. Simple to prepare, easy to store, gluten-free and organic high-quality nutrition options with a 25-year shelf life. You can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. So go to PatriotPrepared.com right now to pick up your supply of high-quality storable food for your family, because it makes good sense to be prepared. That's PatriotPrepared.com.
Have you heard of Protovite? The most common health concern today is poor digestive health. Unlike ordinary supplements, Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology. A published scientific study proves that Protovite is nutrition that gets in 100% of the time. Protovite uses the highest quality ingredients to rapidly nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking.
Protovite, nutrition that gets in. Buy Protovite now.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
Okay, folks, if you want to support this broadcast, it's important to support our sponsors. We're funded by you. Don't have any deep state money coming in, I can assure you that much. And we don't have any military-industrial complex funds. At least if they're sending checks, I'm not getting them. So we do rely on you, the listener, to support us. And when you go to PatriotPrepared.com and purchase any items there, that directly supports me. That's the best way to do it, unless you want to go to Northwest Liberty News, click on the Support Independent News button. You can go there. You can become a Patreon by going to Patreon and typing in Northwest Liberty News. And we do so much appreciate your support, so we can bring great guests like the one we have on today, Pamela Olson from Save Our Children California, but Save Our Children really nationwide, but Save Our Children CA at gmail.com is her email address. And that we should probably say that more, put that out there more. Pamela, I don't want to put you on the spot, but how many emails do you get? You must get just, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
About 200 a week. About every 7 days, I'm getting about 200. And I no matter how fast I talk, no matter how fast I type, it's like trying to put a thumb in a breaking dam. Yeah. And this has happened in this way. And I am a Christian philosophy woman. I believe the cavalcade and avalanche, especially of complex cases across this nation, are so overbearing, so absolutely complete in their destruction of that family. Trying to unwind one of those complexes, 18 months, 20 months, 15 months, it takes me a minute. And then that takes away from, because I'm only one person. So either I need to grow 2 more arms, another head, so I can do 2 things at once, or I need some volunteer help of people that are willing to at least learn a little bit of what I know, so that they can at least get back in touch with these people. Because unfortunately, I'm one person. And there are other great ones. On the show yesterday, you had someone call in that is an absolutely fantastic, amazing advocate. But I can see why so many people don't take a whole lot of cases, or they only walk one case at a time, because literally this is all I do 24 hours a day. I don't work. I barely sleep. This is all I do.
And then your power goes out. Then your power goes out every 3 days for 3 days, and then when you catch back up
I'm up
again,
here in Pollock Pines,
then
and
it
we're
goes
under
back up
winter
again.
storm warnings. So,
and then call you, hey Pam, haven't talked to you in about 4 days. Yeah, another rolling blackout, Jim. Haven't had any power or any email or anything. It's like now you got to get all caught up. And then when you get all caught up, the power goes out again. So but hey, that's the thing, folks. We're in a battle. The enemy attacks us from every angle, and we just have to continue to stand tall and hold the line.
I'm not giving up.
No.
With my last dying breath is the very first promise I made in 2016. With my dying breath, until this is solved, I won't stop. I won't stop.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, so call in line, folks, 515-602-9732, 515-602-9732. We're going to take a caller here. It's been on hold for almost 20 minutes now. Sorry about that, caller. Caller, you're live on the air. Thanks for holding on for so long. Please state your first name and what state you're calling from.
My name is Darren.
Hey, Darren. You talked to you yesterday. You called in.
Yesterday.
That's right, you did, Darren. That's right. Thanks for calling. That's right. Thanks for calling back today. This is the best time to call. You're on the line with the right person now. So please, Darren, go ahead. I'll give you the floor. Go ahead and tell Pamela what's going on.
First thing is to try to keep myself from being emotional. Another thing is I appreciate Mr. White and Miss Pamela for what are y'all doing. Appreciate everything, even though I'm still in my situation. All right. So Miss Pamela, my situation is my kids were taken from me probably about 3 years ago now. I was in California. Unfortunately, I had to go to California following behind my baby mother. But I had to follow her. I got out there. Me and her were having bad terms. We kept arguing. We was homeless at the time because when we went out there, we went to stay with her grandmother that she didn't even know. All right, but we went out there. So, okay, wind up homeless out there. We're constantly arguing and stuff. Someone calls the law one night and says that one morning and says that I am beating her and dragging her across the parking lot. I am arrested. None of that had happened. She came back to the scene with brand new clothes on. She wears glasses. No bruises. She's Caucasian. I am black.
And folks, do not dismiss what he just said. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask you to say that again, sir, because that's important. I'm seeing this now over and over. If there is a mixed couple, they want those kids. They are the highest rated children for adoption. And number two, they know people who come from various races. Literally, there's going to be a different than if you were just a Hispanic couple, a Caucasian couple, or a black couple. They pick at it, and yet these are the very people that say, oh, we all have to accept this new social secular, everyone's allowed to love whoever they want, and yet they don't follow their own edicts. Please say that again, Darren.
I am a black male. She is Caucasian. Also, she is younger than I am. They tell me that I am being arrested because there was no crime at all besides me and her arguing.
Which is called DV. That's what they're proclaiming, that it's a domestic violence situation, and that's the danger to the children. That's what CPS loves to do.
All right. So I'm being arrested at this point for which I asked the gentleman, why am I being arrested? Because he has me in the car, and I am saying, I can read her lips, and her lips are saying, we was just arguing. The same conversation I had with him in the car because she was gone from the scene. She repeated the exact same thing. So I guess I stopped beating her, and we had a conversation of, hey, when the police gets here, you tell them this. That's not how it went.
Okay. She
left the scene after me and her arguing, and the officer tells me that he has to arrest me over the O.J. Simpson crime. I was never around in California or know Mr. O.J., and he was acquitted. So once again, that's why I was being arrested.
Were you ever charged with a crime?
I beat all. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Were you ever charged with a crime?
Go ahead. No, ma'am.
Okay, so if you weren't charged with a crime, why is DV still standing? You take that adjudication out of your criminal court and you file it in JDC. And you file a show cause motion as to why this is continuing. Period. End of story.
I need so much help to get my kids back. You would not believe.
Darling, email me with your best contact number. Monday, you and I will talk, okay? This is very easy. This is a show cause motion along with your criminal filing of no crime. And you're going to make them say, if this is DV, prove where it's DV, because the law says I'm not DV.
Ma'am, say it again.
Why don't you tell me?
Darren, you were saying that you've never been arrested before. You have no criminal background, no criminal history. Is that what you were?
I have no criminal background at all.
Pam, this sounds like something that you can help pretty quickly. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
Darren, do you have?
God, I hope so.
Do you have Pamela's email address, Darren?
If I do, I will rewrite it right now because once again, it has been beyond my control, and I have attempted so many times since I left from California because I was told I would be arrested because we was having another child at the time, and that if my child was born and it was in California, they would automatically take my child from the hospital. Also,
that is true, but let me explain why. It's a California WIC code. Look up California WIC code, Welfare and Institution Code. That's what P&P, for what CPS can take your children for and can't take your children for, are listed under. WIC code, the Welfare and Institution Code, California. That is the entire tip-to-toe state, no matter what county you're in, unless they convicted you of domestic violence in a court of law. If they adjudicated you are not a domestic violence risk, CPS cannot keep that case open on just DV alone. But arguing, believe it or not, California leads to DV, which is why they're telling you that. And under the WIC code, if they've already taken your other children and you're pregnant, the CMS, which Maximus runs nationwide, literally the minute you go in to have a child or you go in to have a pregnancy test, CPS is notified immediately. If you've had a case or a hotline tip but never had a case, literally the minute CPS is notified of your existence, they're in your life forever, which is why it's so important at the end of a case where you are shown as unfounded, because I'm never going to show you as innocent, you're guilty until proven unfounded. That is when we close everything. Your Honor, I want this case closed and sealed so that your CMS, if you ever go in, something happens, CWS is not notified and they come out and grab your kids because you've come down with a respiratory or you've come down with a broken leg. Just like so many parents we've heard, they go into the hospital for a day or two and CPS is right there to take those kids instead of keeping children in homes, waiting for mom or dad to finish with their appendectomy or a broken leg, and then let that parent come home and give them in-home services hand up, like, in-home health services, IHHS. There's no reason to take kids, so why do they take them? This is all about money, folks. This has nothing to do what you've done or not done. There's nothing wrong with 98% of you. There's 3 to 5% every year of true abuse that goes on in this nation. And this year, we're barely even cresting 3 to 5%.
Not for what CPS says. I was honor roll student all my life, or at least the majority of my life at the end of from 9th to 12th. They tell me that I take a psychological test.
Oh, yes. They love their psychological. We all need psychological testing and therapy, right? Because none of us think right.
Huh? Say it again. Say it one more time.
None of us think right. So we all have to have therapy and psychological exams, according to CPS, right? That's like one of their favorite things other than urine testing. I've never seen people so interested in urine.
Correct.
Take a blood. Get it over with. What's the problem?
Yeah.
or cut my hair out.
Right.
Cut my hair out.
Right.
They
so
took a bunch of patches
let's
of my
do
baby
this so
mother's
that we
hair,
don't discuss
while
your
she was
too much. Let's have you email me and let's talk Monday.
Is that Darren? Is that okay? Can you hear us, Darren?
Is there any way that I can just give you my direct number? Because to be honest with you, ma'am, I've run into so many people that say they're willing to help, and I understand that you do, and I'm not talking about your credibility. Please don't take it that way.
Not at all.
But out of these years of fighting for my kids, there's been so many scams and so many people that said they were going to help, and for some reason, the fear, somebody gets to them. Yeah. And they just disappear.
Well, we can't give out. We're not going to give out any phone numbers except for the call line over the air.
No. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
What you can do is, if you want to, and I guess you can, if you have, you can send me your phone number if you want in an email on my email address, and I probably can get to it quicker than
sir.
Yes.
You're capable of seeing my phone number as of right now, right?
I am indeed. Yep, I am.
Okay.
You take that number there, sir, and please pass it on.
Okay.
Okay. Well, just stay on the line then for a minute. I'll put it. Pam, I'll send it over to you, and I'll send it over to you as a direct message here. Give me a second here, and I'll send it over to you in a direct message. All right, Darren. And what part of Ohio are you at? And you in again? What county is it? Are you in again, please?
Oh, I'm not in Ohio, and I kind of prefer not to state where I'm at. Okay. Because of what's going on, and literally because they are the devil's work, and I know they're listening in too.
Okay, very good. All right, very good. Darren, right? Okay, there we go. Darren. Here you go. Here, Pam, it's over there. Okay, Pam, it's over to you now. There you go. Okay, I just sent it to Pam, Darren. We have other callers that are waiting. I appreciate you calling in. Did you get everything? Did you let Pam know everything?
Have a great and blessed day.
Thanks so much, buddy. You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Okay, this one of those things, Pam, as you know, you've done this a lot too. You can actually, so many times you talk to these parents and you can actually just, the pain in their voice, you can just tell. You can just tell over the phone how painful it is for them. And I can't even imagine how painful it would be to have strangers come in and snatch your children and kidnap them, and then you don't know where they're at, and they never may know again until they're 18. They choose to come back to you if they don't.
Let me tell parents what it is an advocate does, because I truly believe most parents have no clue what it is that I do. They really don't. And that surprises me after 4.5 years. But like you said, if I don't know the answer, I'll go find it. Once I find that answer, it's stuck in my head. I'm like an elephant. I got a memory like an elephant. It's a curse. I didn't start out that way, but that's where I ended up. What I do is help you find your rights, your process and procedure, tell you what the stratagem should be, or work a stratagem out with you, working with your attorney or with you if you're in pro per, to do the best you can to fight to bring your children home. And because I go along the strategic policy and procedure of the county, bring in the Fed and the state WIC codes and policy and procedure, this is what makes me so effective, because I'm working within the system. Most advocates attack the system. They don't work within it. Most of them can't even tell you what the paperwork is for any given county, what to apply for a show cause motion versus a petition, versus how do you file exculpatory evidence, what inculpatory evidence is. So I'm deciphering within a layman's language what process people are in. Okay, that's my strong suit. Is it my only? No, I'm a nurse. I have a mental health background. I'm a medical educator. I'm a therapist. So quite literally, while I'm helping you get your head back from the psyop they've just put you in, but a lot of these parents spin. So a simple action can take 3 days because the parents are so spun, and I can't do it for them. It is your case. It's not my name on that paperwork. It's your name. So when I say I walk this with you, I'm giving you what your next step is to do. Now that's up to the parent if they want to do it or not. If you do not what I feel is the best next thing for you to do, I no longer am able to help you. So if you don't follow the advice I give, because usually the first advice I give you is my best advice. So if you're not going to take that for whatever reason, and you don't have to, I'm not a lawyer. There's no fiduciary agreement between the two of us. I do not charge any of my clients, which is probably why I'm so broke. And I don't have boosters for my internet and all that and a big fancy studio yet, but it's so important, and I get why advocates get burnt out. Parents don't realize we listen to you day in and day out. I do this almost 24/7. I am exhausted. I'm beyond exhausted. Does that mean I stop? No. I eat it for lunch because we need to bring this down. Why? Because we are ruining our future. Why? Because CPS is traumatizing our children.
I think we're close to bringing it down, Pam. I think we're close to bringing it down. I really do. I think that their days are very numbered.
And they know it. And they're as panicked as everybody else right now because what we're about to peel back is just pure filth, just ugly.
And I will say this once again to you CPS workers out there, because I know you listen to this show, maybe not now, but I know you pick it up. Now is the time to come clean. Go and turn over state's evidence, become a whistleblower, and blow the whistle on the crimes because they're voluminous. You know it. We know it. Everybody knows it. It's time to come clean right now while you still have a chance before you're put to death for kidnapping. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that lightly.
Stop treating these addicts and these physical abusers, emotional abuse. Stop treating these abusive parents with kid gloves and stop treating good parents with boxing gloves. I mean, it couldn't be any more backwards if they tried.
That's right. Well, we got another caller here on the line. Let's take the caller. And if you want to call in, folks, the call-in line is 515-602-9732. It's right there on the screen. And I also put Pamela's email up there because we say it 12 times a show. So I figure I might as well just put it up there. SaveOurChildrenCA@gmail.com. Let's take another caller here. Caller, you are live on the air. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
This is Sheila from Southern Oregon. I called yesterday and talked to you.
Hi, Sheila. Yes, I do remember.
Hi. I just wanted to ask her a question. There's a woman by the name of Beatrice Yorker. She's a RN, and she testified in court that my family member had Munchausen's disorder and we turned around and had that beat. But I want to know, what are these people doing that have an RN license, diagnosing people with something as serious as Munchausen disorder, which takes 3 years to normally diagnose with a psychiatrist and a psychologist? What's going on with that?
CPS is a common law court. They'll take anybody with a license and take their opinion. This is the number one reason why this system needs to be taken down. You are proven guilty until proven unfounded. So they won't listen to you or your family because you're the ones being looked at. So they'll grab anybody, a little LFMT, which is what I am, a BSN RN, which shame on that RN, and you should put a complaint on her license because no nurse is allowed to diagnose anything. We can give an opinion of appearance, and that's it. That's our lane. We don't diagnose. We report what we see. If somebody in their medical opinion, to the best of their license, sees something medical, and I need Americans to understand this. Just because you don't understand what we do doesn't mean we're wrong. I'm going to say that again. Just because you don't understand why a cop, a caseworker, a nurse, a doctor, a therapist, a psychologist did what they did, unless you understand what their scope of practice is, and then apply your situation over it and can show that this is incorrect, like the nurse who misdiagnosed, they're not to diagnose. Her testimony should have never been given. Instead, she should have applied an affidavit that simply said, I have concerns, we have affectations of, and then you label them out. That doesn't mean you can testify to those affectations because you could be very wrong because you're only a nurse. You're not a doctor. So having the right licensure for the right case is absolutely paramount. You're not wrong.
Go ahead, caller.
So do I go ahead and then put a lawsuit on her in the state of California, or do I do it up here in Oregon?
You would file it from Oregon in the state of California against her license, and that building is in Sacramento, California, and is the Vocational Licensing Board of Nurses.
And so to put a complaint against her, do you know how long the person would have to do that down there? Because I don't know California law.
15 to 30 days, but under COVID, everything's running anywhere from 45 to 60 days. Those women in that licensing board office are incredible. They really are.
Well, it's way past that. So
no.
I can't put a lawsuit against her, though.
No, hold on, caller. I think what Pam was saying is how long for resolution. Are you saying what you're saying is what is the statute of limitations, right? That's the question that you had. What's the statute of limitation?
Right.
That's
there is no statute of limitations on felony perjury.
There never has been.
Felony perjury.
Right.
Okay, felony perjury.
And that's only if it were perjury. If she gave an opinion that's outside of her license, that's not perjury. It's not perjury, but it is a misdemeanor against her license, and her licensing board needs to know it so you can take her down and put a censure on that license. No different than a family law judge, a JDC judge, a caseworker, minors counsel, prosecuting county counsel. You can attack their licenses if they are lying, bring unfounded information, twisted narratives, twisted context, or outright fraudulent information. And hello, everyone. This is Raspus.
Hey, Raspus. Caller, does that answer your question?
It does to a point. Yeah, she works out of UCLA, so they really gave her a big old standing, in court. She took over, and all of the licensed counselors here in Oregon, they didn't have a chance against her, supposedly. I mean, even though it was an opinion, and these other people gave diagnoses, they said, well, her opinion is what we're going on.
So it's always better to go one up then. So go to a doctor, have them look over all of the information that nurse used her opinion on, and get your own opinion and file it.
I had 2 PhDs destroy that narrative, but they still got the kid. And we filed all that in court, and the judge said he didn't really give a damn. He's not going to change his mind, and he just basically threw my daughter out.
Right. Okay. You know what? Email me, please. Let's get on top of this and see what can be done.
Okay, caller. Thanks so much.
Appreciate
you calling. You're welcome.
Bye.
Folks, we can't tell you, the reason that Pam and I do these shows is not because of, fame, fortune, accolades. It's because it's the biggest problem of our lifetime. It's a national tragedy what goes on when it comes to children, in the family court, and the illegal family court, and the illegal child protective services system. Folks, are there children out there again? Are there children out there that need help? Sure there are. Absolutely. But just turning them over to an organization that produce 86% of the child trafficking children that are trafficked across the country, that's where they come from. This is a broken system. Even the simplest of people with the lowest of intellect have to realize this cannot continue. They cannot continue to have unlimited funds with virtually no oversight, and they break up good families. You just heard the caller just now. 2 PhDs poo-pooed this whole Munchausen's by proxy, and I've done shows on this, folks. Do you realize their own numbers? They did 2 million studies of child abuse cases. 2 million. You know what they said? Maybe 1,000 of them are Munchausen's. Maybe. It's 0.00025%. That's not even statistically significant in any study and in any planet in the universe. 0.00025% is significantly insignificant. You know what I mean?
Which you just uncovered and explained to your audience why they use it. Because it's so convoluted and it's such a complex diagnosis that even doctors and nurses disagree with they're seeing. Literally, it's why they use it. It continues the psyop because it can't be proved one way or the other. Why? Because there's only 0.2.5%.
No.
Globally, it's a 3% to 1% any given year. Globally, Munchausen by proxy. And it's a very specific mental illness. And it has very specific markers within the personality and within the brain and in the chemistry of the brain. So CPS damn well knows this. Doctors and nurses damn well know this. This is why CPS uses it, because once they've got something on a piece of paper, oh God, they're not going to let go of it. No, I got this piece of paper. See, it says it on there from an RN. No, we're not going to accept this. This is why you must understand who they show you as an authority is not an actual authority. Go to the authorities you know are authorities, folks. Do not fall for the PSYOP. If they say this is Munchausen by proxy, you put in a judicial notice of every single bit of information about Munchausen by proxy, and you force that judge in JA to take judicial notice. If they do not take judicial notice and change the narrative to medical neglect, which is the closest next thing they can go to, which is very easy to take down and very easy to disprove. That is what you do when you've got a Munchausen by proxy, which has happened to this day, time and time and time again, even though we know it's a almost near impossibility. And these lawyers that sit in there as moderators, as judges in JDC, should be slapped with the truth over and over and over like it's a brick. You get me? Capiche?
Well,
You've got to get it in the court or it doesn't matter.
My uncle was in town here just 3 weeks ago, and I'll have him on the show when he comes in town again. He's a psychiatric nurse practitioner. He's a 77 years old. He's been practicing for 45 years, and he has seen so many children. It's incredible. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands. He's been written up in the paper and everything. Anyway, I asked him specifically about Munchausen's, and he says, well, Munchausen's is usually the diagnosis that you give after you've exhausted every other possibility. You have to go through all the other potential diagnoses. He goes, that takes could be years, 3 years maybe. So you have to rule out every other thing. And then if you rule out everything else and nothing else, it makes sense, or nothing else, there's no other diagnosis that fits, then and only then do you look towards the Munchausen. He goes, this whole thing about applying Munchausen to people off the bat, he goes, that's complete malpractice. That's malpractice for them to even do that.
And so for a nurse to uphold that and not have the documentation, and it doesn't take 3 years to be fully complete. It can take 3 years. Munchausen by proxy can be proven in 6 to 9 months. We have gotten very good at our diagnostic testing. So it doesn't take years and years and years. If you go the old traditional school way of only using psychology, yes, it can take that long to come up with a theory of. Why not just simply prove it? We can prove it. And it doesn't take 3 years. It takes 6 to 9 months, which would be a normal span of a case. 6 months and a day to 9 months and 2 weeks.
Yeah,
there's no excuse.
He probably hasn't done those tests in a long time. He works mostly on Native American reservations now, so he works with the elderly people mostly now. But I mean, yeah, the point being is, regardless of how long it takes, it should not be the first diagnosis that come up with that's almost like they apply that label to parents and they haven't looked at any other possibilities. No, it's Munchausen, because it's like you said, it's so ambiguous. It doesn't it fits a lot of their criteria for taking children. And
right.
It's just,
so they're most common. DV, domestic violence. And that's even if you two are just having an argument and never touched each other. God forbid you're raising your voice, you're yelling at one. I've been married 36 years. I've been with my husband 38. I know what it is to be married. I know what it is to fuss and fight. And all of us are very unique. I'm not about to tell somebody how loud or quiet they must be in order to make me feel comfortable about their argument. You feeling me, guys? Okay. They're insane. If you want to smoke and you go outside so your kids don't smell it, I don't have a problem with that. I'm sorry, I don't. You want to eat pork or don't eat pork? I don't have a problem with that. These are our individual idiosyncratic rights as American people. This is what makes us the great melting pot, okay? They now use DV. If your house isn't clean, they're calling that a mental illness. Neglect, which is the broadest term. My God, they put everything under neglect. You're a poor single woman working 2 jobs, and they're saying that you'll neglect your kids because there's not enough milk in that milk jug at the end of the week just before you get paid. That's neglect. They will use just about anything. They also like to use mental health, and now they're starting to use sexuality against you. If you don't let us turn your son into a girl, you're an abusive parent. And they don't even have verbiage for the new crazy EQ, emotional IQ. If they feel it's right, it must be. I'm more of a prove it, and now that's fact. If you can't prove it, you don't have a fact. So Gen X is over here, and this new millennial think, it's all emotional speak. The law has no emotion. I'm going to say it again. I don't care who it upsets. The law has no emotion. So when you go in there and you rapidly speak and you're going off, they know they've got you. Stop doing it. Walk in there, yes, no, and I don't know. And I object, Your Honor. That is not true. Here is this piece of paper. Folks, you've got to be professional, but sharp. You want to lose it, you lose it with me on the phone, or you lose it with James on the phone, or you write it down in your journal, anywhere but in front of these people. When you're in front of them, you take everything you have. You hold on to that steel rod inside of you. Professional but sharp. Yes, no, and I don't know. Stop giving them information about the bad people in your family, how bad your ex is, male or female, I don't care. Your son or daughter who's taken your younger children because they're angry that you divorced dad or mom. There is so much convoluted, sick stuff that we're doing to each other within families and dragging CPS in as a way to get our wants met. How dare you to do that to your own family? That's sick. You're wrong for doing it unless someone is actually breaking the law, abusing their child, harming their child. Nobody has any business picking up and calling CPS into somebody's life. That's passive-aggressive ghoulism. And that's my new coined phrase. You are now a ghoul. You're right up there with CPS. You had better damn well know the difference between abuse versus you don't like how someone's raising their child. Well, guess what? You don't like how someone's raising their child as long as they're not abusing it. It's none of your business. Period.
They're ghouls. They're ghouls.
We need to grow up in America.
Oh, they're ghouls, all right. They're ghouls, all right.
Whole ghouls.
SaveOurChildrenCA@gmail.com. SaveOurChildrenCA@gmail.com. If you want to call in and talk to Pamela, you can dial 515-602-9732 if you have a question. It's 515-602-9732. You know, Pamela, I know this is not your area, but I get a lot of people that reach out to me, and I know there's got to be some overlap because I know that once you start digging into stuff, you know, these people have multiple streams of income, criminal income. They do the same thing. And again, I know yours is Save Our Children, but can you just briefly talk about it through your experience? I have people contact me all the time and say they do it to the elderly too, Jim. They do it to the elderly too. They don't just do it to children. They do it to the elderly too. Can you just touch on that? Because I mean, that is because here's the thing. Like I've had Lisa Bellinger on the phone on my show before. She does a lot of work with that elder abuse. And here's the thing that they have to understand. See, they go after children because they get the Title IV funds. But for the adults, some of these people have millions of dollars in their 401k or savings, and they've saved their whole entire lives, and they just take over like sort of as executor, and they clean them. They clean them dry. They vacuum all the money out of their account. I mean, can you talk a little bit about this, Pamela? This is not just going on with children. They use some of the same techniques that the CPS uses for parents and children to elderly as well. Can you just touch on that for us?
Absolutely. So when you're in the mafia, when you're in the MOP, county CPS, county APS, Adult Protective Services, just as bad. Family law. These are all under common law. APS is especially dangerous because it's under probate court common law. So not only is it monarchical and admiralty, but the state that APS runs in runs off of state and county P&P. So here in California, if somebody calls in and says, hey, I'm kind of worried about my mom, can you go check on her? Literally, that is enough for a social worker to come out to your parent, your elder parent's home, or your elder aunt, or whoever your elder family member is. They will immediately go, oh, you're too frail to live where you're living. They will confiscate that person without arresting them because they haven't broken, but literally they will chemically restrain you, shove you in an ambulance. Your family will never see you again because your family didn't take care of you. Never mind, it's not constitutional. Never mind, there's nothing in the state constitution about it. They will say you're a bad person for not taking your mom in because God forbid we can't have older people living by themselves. Now, unless there's an issue, unless someone is laying in bed with bed sores, and it does happen. I'm a nurse, folks. Don't tell me it doesn't happen. I've seen it. Save your stories for someone who will believe them. I've seen what we do in SNFs. The minute your elder person gets into a SNF, they're dead within 6 months to a year. It's done that way so they can collect the IRA, the savings account, the home that you grew up in, your trust fund, anything. Not that anyone really has anything left anymore except for the houses we're living in, but the state wants that too. Why? Because this is all about taking us all down and putting us down in a fiefdom down here while they, the mob, rule over us here. That's what the big reset is, folks. They don't want us to have means to protect ourselves, feed ourselves, clothe ourselves, and house ourselves. This is APS. Now, if you think CPS is bad, step up into APS and watch these probate judges who do take an oath completely screw you and your family member over, and they'll even smile and say, I gotcha. They're sick. These people are beyond sick. And I don't care if judges and lawyers are listening to this and going, that stupid woman's talking again about what? You know what? Every single lawyer in America should be taken out to the shed and beaten within an inch of their life, because the reason we have CPS, APS, and family law disaster and a broken system, lawyers and judges who are not doing their jobs. You're rotten. You're rotten. I have no faith in anyone that is part of the monarchical state bar system, and they better stand up and start showing us who the good people are, because we're going to take them all down and breed an entire new defensive and prosecutorial along our constitutional rights. Period. We're sick of it. We see you. We're not giving you another dime. Most of you are crud. Most of you are crud. There's a handful. What we got? Connie Reguli that's fighting for her very life in Tennessee. We got Sean McMillan and a few other handful. What is it? Cox, Johnson & Johnson, and Powell. They're so overburdened and older now. They're a drop in the bucket like I am. And if these people can't get change done, then it's not going to be done through lawyers then, is it? It's going to be done through legislative rewriting, period. And then it's going to be we the people standing up and telling our legislator and governor, you had better enforce this or we're going to remove you and put somebody in who will. Because that's how big this topic now is. This is the topic that every congressman, every senator, every governor, every AG just went, oh, I feel it on my shoulders. They finally feel it because we're all there. We're all sick of it, and our children deserve better, especially if you look at abused children, and we already know foster care is broken, and you're putting children who are hurt, children who are absolutely traumatized into this sick system. Those people now deserve to be taken out back and beaten within an inch of their lives because they all know just how bad the system is. And you know what they usually say? It's not happening to me. So sad, too bad. Yeah, you're an innocent parent, but oh well, nothing I can do about it. That's what attorneys will tell you. And it's enough to make a parent's head go, pfft, because we've all been told a lawyer will save you. No, they won't. A good lawyer will save you.
You know, I think what's going to be somewhat shocking to folks is when you start seeing this events that are going on right now, folks, with this election and the fraud that they're uncovering on the backs of the Nexium thing be getting broken out with the Biden's laptop and all of the espionage that's going on. Do you understand that the whole entire evil system is crumbling right before our very eyes? And when that happens, the evil bar associations coming down, the big pharma's coming down, all the military-industrial complex, all that stuff, all of the evil that really has been sort of as an overlay over our entire society that's been running everything. This is all going to have to come down if we're ever going to make a quote unquote make America great again and have a government like Trump promises, of the people, by the people, and for the people. IRS has got to come down. The Federal Reserve has got to come down. All these big banks that make $50-60 million bonuses on the backs of people suffering, all that's got to stop. You see, there's such a transformation in society that we're, I think, on the cusp of. People don't realize that this is the opening salvo. All the election fraud gets exposed. People are going to be shocked to realize that the Democrats, they didn't win most of any of the last previous elections if they dig far enough. This has all been a fraud. The only way they can win is by cheating and by fraud. Pamela, I think that, and I said again, I think when all the layers of the onion keep getting peeled back, these CPS people can keep burying further and further in, but eventually it's going to be pulled back for them too, and they're going to have nowhere to hide. And if they don't come out now and admit what they've done and beg for forgiveness and turn over and become whistleblowers, then I think the penalty for these people that do this willingly should be the death penalty. They should be hung by their neck until dead for kidnapping children. That's the penalty for kidnapping children, is the death penalty if you get caught.
At least lock them up.
Yeah, at least.
At least lock them up. If you're that big of a ghoul that for you to have a little bit of personal power because you've never had it in your life because you're a B-type soy girl or soy boy, I don't want to hear it anymore. Your job isn't about you feeling better. Your job is to do your job. Now, as a nurse, I've had to deal with a little bit of everyone. Pedophiles, criminals, felons, doctors, nurses. Everybody gets sick, folks. I've seen a little bit of everybody, okay? I don't like criminals any more than the rest of us do. Do I like it when our cops become criminals? No, I'd much rather uphold good men and women who are doing their job and protecting and serving their communities. Here's where people get confused. You don't have constitutional rights in common law. Police officers aren't there to uphold your rights. They are there to uphold their mayor's rights because that's who law enforcement, LEOs, work for. Sheriffs work for we the people because they do take an oath to uphold our constitutional rights. You need to understand everybody's role. And most people assume they know what a doctor's role is, what a admiralty judge's, well, really a mediator lawyer role is, county council's role is. If you don't understand these roles, how on earth can you fight? That's where I tell people to start. Understand what the AG of your state does, what the sheriff of your county does, what your county board of supervisors, magistrates, does. Unless you know who to go to and who must provide you what right and service, how are you going to get anything done? You're like a dog chasing your tail. And I get why parents feel that way. I know, because I had to go through all of it and I felt like I was chasing my tail until I finally found the structure. And you almost feel like you need to take another civics lesson. And that's not a bad idea. Please stay away from National Liberty Alliance and this whole, we're working on the wrong constitution, let's put in affidavits and remonstrances and JDC. No, we are working on the constitution we have. Once it is fixed, the NLA is going to be very happy. We're going to have the constitution, like Jim said. The Fed's coming down, the central banking system's coming down, CPS is coming down, common law will be ripped out of our friggin' constitution finally. I can't wait. There's no need, no service. We are beyond it technologically, modernly thinking, and who we are. It was effective all the way up until about the 70s and was no longer effective. And instead of taking it down, CAPTA came in 74 because Mondale brought it back up. Why? Because they all saw the back door. It's for money, guys, and control over us. The more control you have over your people's population to comply without any facts. Just listen to me because I'm your governor. Just believe me because I'm a doctor of science at the NIH. And Fauci has never been a practicing doctor. He's a scientific researcher, which means he knows diddle squat, and he hasn't been right yet. Know what people's roles are, know what your basic civics are at a state level and especially a county level. It's going to help you out. Have those numbers all listed out. Call, talk to people. Don't complain. Tell them what's going on with you. Start making them responsible and start pushing their names out in your community of who's doing their job versus who is not. That has power, folks. That has power.
If you want to call into the show here, you can call in at 515-602-9732. It's a great time to call in. There's no calls now. Usually the lines are jam-packed and we have to actually turn people away. So if you want to, right now is a great time. It's like showing up at the supermarket when no one's shopping. It's like, I
love that.
You go right through. It's great, right? So if you want
I do. I love that. I hate shopping.
If you want to call
I hate it. Ugh, it's awful.
I don't want to go shopping when I'm hungry. I hate to do that. I really need to. I need to have a meal, then go shopping because, of course, if you're hungry, you're like, wow, that really looks good.
Bringing up hungry.
Yes.
I'm going to tell America right now. Many CPS parents lose their job. They lose their home. They're made homeless. We have heard this several times, have we not, Jim?
Oh yeah, by the fees, and they've actually, because they can't actually work because they have their hearing at 9 a.m. and they've got a job and they can only do that so many times to take off from their job until people go, listen, you got too many personal problems to work here. You got to find somewhere else to work because I can't have you taken off to go to your anger management class every Tuesday and Thursday between 9 and 10. I mean, now, folks, that's what they do.
I've got parents who have told me I can't get any assistance. They'll keep my kid if I do. So-and-so told me that once you sign on to this, you're now like a county employee or they own you. All right, folks, stop. Stop it. Get what you need. They will punish you if you don't use your resource and services, and they'll use that as an excuse to keep your children away, that you're not reaching out. You're too proud. You won't take EBT or you won't take whatever it is. Start putting on your caseworkers and on your judges in family law. I require this and this in order to meet your request of me, judge. Put it in the court. Make them never just comply. They want you to do all these services. You get a judge's order. You make them prove you need it. Stop complying and ask them why. Well, this is just what we normally do. Well, good for you. I'm not doing that. Oh, well, you think you're special? I know I'm special because those are my children and this is my life. I'm not hearing your most common and what you see in your 30 to 20 cases. And that's all they've got, 20 to 30 cases. I wish that's all I had. And these people are overworked. I used to have 99 patients as a nurse on night shift. If I'm one person and can handle 99 people that are sick and healing on a night shift, you're going to tell me these little caseworkers can only handle 15, 20, 30 cases in a month? Give me a break. And they make as much money as a nurse does.
Pamela, what's the remedy for people when they go into a situation, and I've had it on my show numerous times, where the sheriff's involved, the judges are involved, the social workers are involved, the guardian ad litem are involved, the school principal and some teachers perhaps are involved, and certainly the people at the hospital, they're involved. There's no really way out. It's like no matter where you go, it's almost like a satanic cult that there's so many members that everybody where you go for remedy, you run into one of their members, and they're going to protect their own. I know it sounds kind of like a conspiracy theory, folks, but when I'm telling you there are satanic covens that run child trafficking, and the people that are in positions of power are all members. That's why nothing gets done. I want you to prove me wrong, because I'm not wrong. Pamela?
No, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. This is why I tell people, do not work within the CPS vendor system they have set up. Why? They call your therapist. They call the psychologist. They call the testing place and say, she's going to look real normal, but we're pretty sure she's a drug addict. The people they call drug addicts will absolutely floor you. I mean, just floor you. And they push the narrative because they've got a dipstick test that says, oh, look, this has a level that could say this person has something, but then they'll never put in the actual freaking urine test. Why? Because it's negative. I've got cases that have gone on for months and months and months on wrong narratives. So what parents need to do, fine, this is CPS's case and these are their vendors and I've gone and done this. I don't want to hear you groan. You will go to your county and have the exact same thing done that CPS is asking of you. Ask them if they've ever been vendors or have helped with CPS, because those are the people you want, because they are going to assess you as a private county individual on your county Medi-Cal or Medicare or whatever it's called in your area. 9 times out of 10, they hold you up in your narrative and it completely kills CPS. That's when they say with parents, with a judge, well, gee, I'm getting 2 narratives here. That is when you must pounce on it. The minute the judge says, well, I'm getting 2 stories here. Well, of course you are, Your Honor. They are pulling an incorrect narrative where I'm proving to you with my evidence that my narrative is correct. And I want to show cause adjudication from you today that shows my narrative is correct and theirs is wrong, so we can move on. Believe it or not, judges, once they're pushed to the wall and forced through a verbal request, a walk-on motion that you can always write up and file later so that everything is proper, the minute they adjudicate, you ask for that minute order. What's a minute order? Minute order is what the judge adjudicated for that day. And you want that. And they're not giving parents their files. They're not giving parents their minute orders. Parents don't even have case plans. And they have 12, 18, 15, 30 months of a case without even a case plan. It is illegal. It is corrupt. There is a way to shut it down in their system. You grab their own tools, you turn them around and use it against them. They have zero defense and they know I'm right, which is why they hate me.
They do indeed hate you because you are the wrecking ball. We have another call that's come in here for us, Pam. We're going to go ahead and take that call. And if you want to call in, you can call in as well at 515-602-9732. 515-602-9732. Let's take this caller. Caller, thanks for calling in. You're live on the air. Please state your first name and what city you're calling from, or state.
Hey, this is Candace. I'm from Minnesota. I've talked to you both before.
Hello, Candace, from Minnesota.
Do you know if there is any federal or state citation where if someone calls you into CPS, where they can't gain financially?
Okay, so let me break this down. You mean someone calls CPS on you because when CPS comes and executes the kidnapping, that person that called on you receives financial gain from the operations of CPS? That's interesting. Do you have a case that's going on?
Yeah, people that called me in along with my daughter, they have my children, and they were making calls on me. I
think I need to get you on my show, Candace. I've been trying to get on my show, haven't I? Haven't I said? I think don't you have something coming up here in a couple of days or weeks?
8 days. I'm facing my TPR trial.
Okay, well, let's get you on next week then. We don't have to schedule it right now. We can actually schedule it right now if you want to on air. It doesn't matter to me. If you want to come on Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning, my time, I'll schedule you right now. If you want to come on 8 a.m.
That's great.
We'll schedule you right now, 8 a.m. on Tuesday. Let me open up my calendar right now, folks. Live radio, what the heck, I run the show. We can do what we want, right, Pam? If we want to schedule somebody live on the air, it's up to us.
Candace brings up, and Candace is a warrior, folks. My God, I mean, I haven't been able to talk to her
Thank you.
Of late, but you read her file and what this woman has done just through common sense and just through pure tenacity. My God, you talk about a superhero. She's on the line, folks, right now. That's the woman in Street Clothes with a Cape, because she has given this. I don't think she's missed a corner of her case. All that's missing is a little bit of stratagem and killing it in the end, which is what she's preparing for, which is why she's also saying, hey, we need to talk about this before I go in 8 days. In order to shut down someone getting paid, it is so pervasive. I need people to understand this. This is not a bad case of worms where we can just take 1 or 2 treatments of something and boom, it's all cleared up. We must take down Title IV attachments and adjoinments from our SSDI, SSI fund that they have been raiding for 45 years. I'm going to say it again, raiding for 45 years. Most people who live on disability or Social Security live on less than what people who receive county assistance live on. They are starving us out, quite literally. They're trying to make it to where if you can't make it on your own, if you can't make it, and my husband and I own an HVAC&R. We've had it open since 2008. We're also educators. We are near destitute. We are sucking fumes. Just trying to get anything done becomes huge when you don't have the finances to do it. So when you parents call and say, I don't understand. Oh, yes, I do. Don't assume. I don't live the exact same life you're living. I'm mirroring you and walking it. So I get the spins. I get is there some way to do this? In order to change what Candace is bringing up, we must take down the Title IV enjoyment, and that's going to be a federal lawsuit by people like me suing on behalf of people like Candace, because it's the only way to get it done. A parent tries to sue for federal and take it down. They won't even listen because you've been through the process. Do you see how they mute and take us out of our own process that they're doing to us? They're cutting off any venue for you to have a voice, which is why you need a third party, not a party to the case advocate. That's how we get these parents heard.
Candace, what state are you in again, dear?
Minnesota.
Okay, so you're okay. So let's go 7:30 then my time. I thought it'll be 8:30 your time. Is that too early for you? Is that okay?
Nope, that's fine.
You're in Central Time, right? So okay, so I'll send you over an email with the Zoom link.
So proud of you, Candace.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we'll do 7:30.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. We'll talk to you Tuesday morning then.
Wonderful gal.
Okay, sounds good.
All my parents are wonderful. I mean, they're
I'll call you Monday evening. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I'll call you Monday evening to verify.
You.
Thank you. Welcome. Candace, thanks for calling in. Sorry, Pam. Go ahead.
No, I just want to share with everyone.
Thank you.
I know you guys feel crazy. When I hear you, I hear the beautiful Americans that you are. I hear the beautiful mothers and fathers and grandparents that you are. As I listen to you, I literally have my eyes closed and tears running down my face. I am with you. I get it. You don't have to over-beleaguer the point. You simply tell me what they're doing. I already get what you're going through. I'm there. I know somebody needs to hear the whole story, so it can take up to 3 days for me to upload where you even are in your case, because these parents have no one to talk to. That is why what Jim White is doing, and please support this program. It's so important. So many people just need someone's out there for me. Someone's listening. Please support this programming or programming like it. Please stop listening to controversial, file a this or this, get a sheriff and 5 affidavits. Folks, no, unless it's in the county P&P, you're not to do it. They're gonna call you a kook. It doesn't matter if it's got good theory with legs on it. I've never seen it work. If I haven't seen it work, it's not a tool worth using. Maybe in the future they will be when our Constitution is restored to its full constitutional rights. Because right now, under ACA, half of our Bill of Rights have been removed from us, which is why CPS became so dangerous 2008 forward. Everyone needs to understand that. Barack Obama took half of our rights down in order to force ACA upon us. That's why CPS got so vicious, literally from 2012, really, when he did it, all the way till now. If you're seeing it ramped up and at its apex, that's the root as to why. People need to understand what has happened in order to understand and correct what's going on now.
The ironic part about what you just said here is I don't make any, I make income from the news stuff that I do. I make any income from the CPS, and it's really like the hardest thing I've ever done. in my life. Now forget it. I mean,
Awesome.
I've done a lot of hard stuff, and this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And it's, you know what? I just no money. There's no money in it at all. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's ironic that the thing that is the toughest is the thing that is most people. There needs to be more people need to be supported. I think if more people were supported, more people would be out there doing what I'm doing. Thankfully for me, I have another, avenue to be able to make an income. But if I didn't, I wouldn't even be on air because I couldn't raise the money to be able to do that. So, yeah,
Right.
Pam's right. If you don't support me, support others that do this. If you can find them.
Anybody that you see doing good work, right, Jim?
Pardon?
Anyone you see doing true and right work.
Correct.
Support your free
Correct.
press. Support your advocates. Support those people who are standing up and making your senators and legislators do their jobs. These are the American heroes. I'm not a hero. I'm just an American. I'm following a hero who's making other heroes. Okay. We are all heroes when we stand up. We see something's wrong. We want it corrected. Not because we're right, but because what they're doing is wrong.
That's right. No, you're correct. Folks, if you want to call in and talk to Pam Olson, it's usually a hot ticket item. Today, I don't know, everything going on, Pam, there's so much going on right now, obviously.
Wait for Monday.
Yeah,
Don't
wait for
freak
Monday.
out, folks. Stay away from your TVs. Monday is going to be exquisite. I promise.
Yes, and don't believe what you hear in the mainstream news. Do not listen to it. I don't care if it's Fox. It doesn't matter, especially Fox. And I've been saying this for so long. Fox is the gatekeepers for the conservative. They're the ones that keep the conservatives in line, feed them what they want. And you understand, folks, sitting around watching Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson and you going, that's not the same as taking action and actually doing things. What these television shows do, even though they're entertaining, and don't get me wrong, Tucker brings up some stuff that nobody else will bring up, right? That doesn't like absolve you from putting your feet on the ground and getting down and dirty with where the real battle is going on. There's nobody taking kids from cable TV ads, right? I mean, they're taking children in people's homes. You got to be there protecting these in the courts. Like Melinda Sherwin's been on this program. They do court watching there in Arizona. I mean, tirelessly. She goes there, and now I think it's all through Zoom. You can't really go in there, I don't think, anymore. But still, when you could go in there physically, she was in there all the time advocating for parents, being in there, just saying, hey, listen, before you pull some shenanigans, we're out here and we can see you and we're writing down what you're doing. Now, will that stop all of them? No. Will it stop some of them? Yes. Yes, it will. Some of them are kind of like up for election maybe, and they don't want to, So yeah, the people, we have the power. We have the power. They don't want us to know this. That's why they keep us divided. See, that's their plan, division. Once we realize, like Pam said, that Pam and I aren't enemies, or you and your neighbor aren't enemies, or the guy that's got the Joe Biden sign on his lawn, that's not your enemy. No, it's the scoundrel overlord, child trafficking scum Illuminati at the top. That's our enemies. But they don't want anybody to see them, so they put the shiny object out, so we're all distracted from what the real evil is. Pam, I don't know if I can put it any plainer than that.
Exactly. And I want to, I'm so glad that you brought that up. I followed up and found for all 50, our legislators are who we are to reach out to get certified to be a court watcher in any court, state all the way down to common law. So anyone wants to go and watch one of these, just go for a week. You don't believe me? Fine. You don't have to. Go sign up as a court watcher and watch it happen for 8 hours, day in and day out, and let your jaw unhinge, because quite literally what you're going to see is some of the worst malfeasance, whether you even know what the process is. After 8 hours of watching one day of court, you're going to start looking up what's DV, what's Munchausen by proxy, what are they considering an addict versus the actual definition. Just in one day, you can edify yourself onto every single sick tool they use, every weapon, every twisted thing and convoluted they use against you. Once you have court watch for 72 hours, like in California, you can report back to that legislator, this courtroom is defunct. This judge is derelict in their judicial duties. That legislator now has the absolute, they must. It's not the right. Just because they have the right doesn't mean they're going to do it. We need to hold feet to fire. I don't want to hear well, they can. I don't want to hear, well, they can. I want to hear they're going to do. So you've got to nail that legislator's feet to the floor and say, okay, now I've gone and seen this. I'm now giving you a report, which means you now have 30 days to go and find out what is going on in that courtroom. And we just don't have enough people that understand.
And if they do it over and over and over again, see, no judge wants a legislator crawling up their robe every 30 days. Nope. They don't want that. They don't want that. They don't want that. They don't want, because they have a God complex. They have a superiority complex. They don't want a legislator coming telling them what to do.
We know better than you. We went to the college of we know better than you.
Yeah, of course. So it's their club, right? And and the legislator's not a member of their club. So they have disdain for these people. They don't want them up their robe. So just keep doing it over and over again. And they'll stop eventually. They don't want that. They don't want that, or vote them out, right? There needs to be an entire, these criminal judges, there's about to be a whole big expose coming up on them too. They think they're going to get away with it. They're not. They're not. They're not.
There is no immunity.
There's
and
no
there
immunity.
is no such thing as an actual judge that sits in common law.
It's color of law.
They are a administrative mediator.
Color of
That's
law.
all they are.
It's color of law. It's color of law. They violated a person's rights under color of law.
That's right. And how interesting that we're under a color revolutionary war.
Yeah.
At the same time, we're under common law, color of law. Why do they call it color of law? Because it only somewhat intimates some of our rights out of the Constitution. That's why we call it color of law.
Right. Well, I did a whole show on it. It's when someone, and caller just dropped off. We just had a caller. They just dropped off. You can call back if you want, caller. They there's a what they do is they misrepresent the authority that they have. They convince people that they have the authority, like CPS thinks that they have the authority to come and take your children without due process.
Yeah.
Well, the code says this, code says that. Yeah, the code says this, the code says that. Code doesn't trump the Constitution. The code does not trump the Constitution. Your code does not supersede my rights for a jury trial of my peers if you take any property of mine, any life, liberty, or property over a certain value. I'm afforded a due process for that. Your code doesn't override my due process, because once you write your code, if it overrides my constitutional rights, it's invalid on its face. Marbury versus Madison. That's the Supreme Court. There's Supreme Court precedent. If any code or law is created that violates the Constitution, it's by design defunct and defraud and doesn't count. You don't have to follow it. Marbury versus Madison. Don't believe me. So,
and yet we've ratified common law to sit right underneath, like the basement, right? The romper room up underneath the Constitution. So when Republicans tell you, oh, we're constitutional. No, you're not. No, you're not. Stop selling me that it's raining outside when you're peeing on my shoe. I'm not buying it. Stand up. If you're a Republican or a Democrat and you're all about the Constitution, we're now going to hold your feet to fire. I want to see it. Because how can you have constitutional law with a common law hanging on to it like a tick on a dog? They'll tell you, gee, it's just too big to explain. No, there's too much money coming in through the back door, and you don't want to cut yourself off from it. Doing one bad thing makes every good thing you do from there on tainted, and we're going to hold you to it. I don't care if you made a mistake or you thought you were doing right. It is time for consequences, and this election has consequences. Trust me, this election has consequences.
I cannot wait for the next 4 years. I can't wait for the next 4 weeks. Pam, we got another caller that's calling in here, and maybe the same one that called earlier that cut off. Let's see. Caller, you are live on the air. Please state your name and the state that you're calling from, please.
Hello to both of you. I wasn't going to call because I've called for most of your presentations, and I just wanted to call
Sue
and
from
say
New York.
I love
Wait,
you both.
Sue from New York, yes?
Yes, Lisa in New York. I just
Lisa.
love you both as a brother
Lisa,
and
hello,
sister in
Lisa.
Christ. And
Thank you.
I'm sorry? Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah, just want to edify you for all of the amazing work you're doing and giving hope to so many of these families. I understand this on many, many levels, and I know Pamela understands where I'm coming from. I just wanted to ask quickly, and I think this might help a lot of people, what rights did Obama leave for us? And for so long I've been fighting against, well, this is wrong, and so we have our rights, but if we don't, we don't. And I get it now. We need to just accept it is what it is, at least for now, until it gets rectified. So what is there somewhere one can find what rights were taken away by Obama in regards to these admiralty courts and CPS, and what rights we still have, so that we can build the most effective case?
That's a good question. I think so. I think if there was a list of what, we don't know what we need to get back until we know what we've lost, right? So we need to have
That's where I'm going.
Yeah, go ahead. Good question.
Gotcha. This is very simple. Instead of saying what we've lost, it's better to say what he took away, because what we lost is immense. There's a reason common law is able to take jurisdiction over our pets, over our adults, senior adults, and our children. It's because ACA took down and said on a social secular mandate and statutes, which are not laws. I'm going to say that again. Statute and mandates are not laws. Your state government may not fine you. New York deli owner, $10,000 fines, won his case because under the Constitution, Como could not put onerous taxes for opening a business he legally owned. Period. So it's better to say what they did and took for themselves that then screwed us. What they did is said, all mandates and statutes are now to be taken as constitutional law. That's what he did. By doing that, it took many of our rights down to the full rights of our children. Instead, states said, we are the parent of your child, status parenti. That's what we got stuck with in Obama, 2012 forward, status parenti. Many states like California say, we are the ultimate parent. We're letting you keep your property, i.e. your beautiful children, as long as you feed them, clothe them, house them, educate them, and give them proper medical and educational care. If you do not keep up with our standard of what we think you should provide your child, we are going to take that child from you because it's already our property. California already accepts all children as its property. That is why fights in California are so vicious. Texas has its own little country type of thing. So they're the only ones that can actually fight on a constitutional basis. But that process has gotten so convoluted since 2018 when that one federal district judge took down CPS in that district. And now it's soup. I can't find the potato or the meat in this thing. I mean, it's just a muddied mess in Texas. It honest to God is. I even had somebody call me from Texas this week. And all I could do was give her the basic stratagem because Texas has gone so far off the rails, I can't even find the train. It's just whacked. So, folks, if you know your process and you've walked through it, write it down and email it to me so I can share it with other parents or talk about it on the show because things are moving so fast now, I'm having a hard time keeping up. Really, I am.
Lisa, we appreciate you calling in. Did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up with Pam?
No, I just wanted to ask where can we find this, law that supposedly Obama made?
The ACA, the American Care Act. It's all wrapped up in 25,000 pages of American ACA, which Nancy Pelosi said we have to pass to know what's in it. Now we know why they did that. They did it because they were taking down and replacing our constitutional rights with statutes and mandate requirements from our federal government, which is illegal and against the Constitution. And they passed it in Congress.
So is there a way around the fact that we are not subject to statutes, codes, procedures as live people?
Until ACA is completely brought down, no. All we can do is argue against it.
We've been sold out by our so-called leaders, our elected representatives, who don't work for us, who only work for special interest, and they work for big corporations, big pharma, hospital corporations. That's right. They work for them, and they sold us out. There's no other way to put it. We don't have statesmen. Statesmen don't do that. Politicians do. Sadly, we have too many politicians and not too many statesmen. I think that's the answer to that. Sadly.
Right. So I would encourage everyone listening and everyone to listen in the future to just pray and pray and pray and pray for the good to come out and for this all to be revealed, the truth to come to light, because it really is a good versus evil. And when it's exposed,
indeed,
I think things will turn around.
They will. Prayer is
powerful.
Prayer is a very good, that's very good advice, I think, Lisa. Very good advice. We appreciate you calling in.
Thank you all for answering my questions. As always, you are two absolutely wonderful wonderful, wonderful people, and I just wanted to thank you for all you're doing. And I'll hang up now and let the next person go. But please know how much we all appreciate you. True leaders.
Thanks so much for calling in, Lisa. I appreciate that. Those are nice phone calls, Pam. You know, a lot of times I know you do a lot of this work, you know, and of course, either one of us are knocking it out of the park financially, folks. Believe me, trust me when we tell you this. This is not anything like that. You know, I mean,
we're hanging on like the rest of you. We're,
yeah, exactly.
We're the cat with the one claw. You know,
exactly. Tie a knot at the end of the rope and hope you don't fall off.
Right.
You know, so yeah, this is we appreciate calls like that because I know that you and I both do it for not the money at all. We do it because we care about humanity, you know, and I know that, you know, I have children, you have children, grandchildren, and we know that their future, you know, is no one else is going to really guard their future than besides us. I mean, we can't expect the state to do it. You know what the state has in store for them, don't you? Just take a look at what's going on in all these major cities. That's the type of citizens the state wants, that cause turmoil and cause strife so the state can move in and take more control. See, that's what they do. It's the problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialectic. And if you're not familiar with the Hegelian dialectic, yeah, I would suggest humbly that you research it and look into what's going on, because that's sort of one of the key frameworks that they use for all of these problems, quote unquote, that are created. See, they create the problem, they wait for your reaction, and they move in with a solution. And the solution always benefits them and never benefits you. But they make you think that they're the saviors, and what they really are doing is they're really enslaving you. Look at the Federal Reserve Act. It's a perfect example, folks.
And if you doubt what Jim is saying, go on Twitter, go on Facebook, go on YouTube, listen to General Flynn, listen to Mary Flynn. They are giving you the straight poop. It may not be all the information you want, and folks, we may not get all the answers. I don't know that we want all the answers on some of these topics. We want to know that the answer and the solution has been applied. There are certain levels, and folks, I'm going to give this warning in the last 5 minutes of the show here, or last 10 minutes of the show. Please, if you're already triggered, it's one thing to read something, it's another thing to see something. Please be very careful what you are watching, listening, and seeing. It can be very damaging to someone who already has a frail psyche. Okay. I'm seeing this stuff. People are sending me stuff. I didn't get not even an hour's sleep last night. People send me things that I think would probably make grown men puke in their boots. Okay. As a nurse, I've seen so much that I get what I'm seeing and I can kind of shut my emotion off. Folks, I'm human. It does catch up to me. There are nights I do nothing but cry in bed all night over the pain I heard that day in a parent's voice, and a child saying, I just want to go home to mommy. I just want to see daddy. No one's listening to these kids. And if CPS tells you, oh, it's fine, they're in foster care. Oh my God, you look at that CPS worker and go, are you stupid? Do you not know 88 to 90% of children, 100% are traumatized, 100% emotionally and mentally, 88 to 90% sexually, either by an older other foster child or by the foster providers themselves or someone they know, because they're letting adults around your kids because they have a right to live a life. And I'm not about to take that away from them, but they're the last people. I want people who are licensed, oathed, and sworn to be looking over these children, not common everyday Americans, because I don't trust you. I don't trust you. If you're working for CPS, you're a ghoul. Get the heck out. Do it through your church or something else, but stop listening to CPS as though they are the authority. They're not. They're the mob.
Pam, I see the news clips of these marshals that are rescuing these children, these precious children, out of these trafficking rings, and they seem to be ramping them up. And just another one here, 100 and something. And then I see them marching them off, and they were turned over to Child Protective Services. They were rescued. They were rescued from the traffickers and turned over to Child Protective Services. And I
because
just
there's no other entity to take them in.
Good Lord.
Who do we give them to?
It's like going from one. It's like going from one. It's like he was rescued from Satan and then given to his band of demons. Oh,
from the fire right back into the frying pan
really?
That they were taken out of. CPS needs to be told, not one more child. We're not putting up with your malfeasance, your defunct, broken program that is going to traumatize my child. You put my child with my mother, my father, my brother, my aunt, whatever. I don't trust you. And you make sure you tell that judge, I do not trust. I have done enough research. I know what foster care does to children. You know, judge. Which means if you know, you must state putting your child into foster care is a risk and danger to your child. We've now just become the risk or danger to your child. And if you don't bring that up in court, you're going to lose your case. And bad lawyering. If your lawyer is not objecting, IAC, ineffective assistance of counsel, and get another one. If that one screws up, IAC. By the time you hit the third one here in California, they must pay for a private attorney of your choice. And that's when you really take it to them. Meanwhile, they're not going to call you. They're not going to communicate. They're going to have themselves a fit. OCR, Office of Civil Rights, in DHHS, every state has one. It is almost better than going to the county or the FBI, which both of them are pretty much shut down under COVID right now.
Well, we've got one more call that we're going to try to squeeze in here, Pamela. We've only got about 4 minutes or so left. Gotcha. So we're going to try to squeeze in one more call here before the end of the show. Caller, you are live on the air. Please state your first name and where you're calling from.
This is Bradley calling from Nebraska.
Hi, Bradley from Nebraska. How are you, sir? Thanks for calling in.
Nebraska. Woo-hoo.
Good, James. I've been watching you, Pamela. You're doing really good. I like watching your show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. You have a question for Ms. Olson?
I wanted to call in and capitalize on what Pamela said about California claiming the children as their own, which in a sense they are, because the mother and father fails to acknowledge their offspring into the county record when they're born.
True. He's not wrong.
Flesh that out a little bit. Go ahead. Tell us about that, Pam. You've heard that before?
Yes, ma'am. And this is constitutionally correct. This is the one thing I will give the NLA. This is correct. A live birth certificate, when we have a child, we call it birthing, but a birth as in an admiralty berth on a ship or a cruise ship, that's known as a birth. He is absolutely correct. Unless you have a certificate of live birth, calling that child a full human. I don't get the whole big letter, little letter, corporation, but that certificate, if you get a birth certificate instead of a certificate of live birth, I believe that he'll probably fix that for me. But there is a difference between the two. Do not get a birth certificate. You want a live, I had a human being on this day and this day, and we are its parents, which that's you claiming your child. Caller, please.
Caller, follow up on that?
Yes. Yes, I've done this myself. Some people like to do it as a certificate of live birth. Some of it is a certificate of naturalization, but it needs to be posted showing the record that there is a live being or human being, and human still, the color of, the hue of, but an offspring. An offspring is our lineage from the Most High, where children can be a state term and kid is the offspring of a goat. So.
Okay, caller, we've got one more caller coming in. We got about 1 minute left. We're going to try to get that caller and squeeze that caller in. Thanks so much for calling, caller. We appreciate your insight. Thanks for listening to the show. Please feel free to call back anytime. We're just running out of time here, close to the end here. Okay, so you're the last caller of the day here. You're live on the air. Go ahead and hit us with your question here before we got to go.
Am I the one on the line?
Yes, go ahead. You're still there. Go right ahead.
How you doing? I just wanted to make a statement about the lawyer thing. My lawyer I had like 4 or 5 lawyers that they all appointed to me, and within a year and a half. I turn around and my baby mother's lawyer worked for CPS at first, was not working for CPS then, and then right after we lost our case, went back to working for CPS.
Oh gosh, that fix was in, man.
Yeah.
That's collusion. That's collusion to conspire to steal a child. That's an actionable case in a federal court. That's a Rule 60 along with federal filing charges against collusion to conspire to steal your property.
This is Darren, right? Darren,
No one would believe what I've been through.
Well, Darren, we're just out of time. We're really out of time, man. We're just out of time. Thanks, man. I sent Pam your number. Okay, Pam, we're really out of time. Go ahead and I want to give you a chance to give out your websites. We got about 1 minute. Give out your websites where people can find out more about you. We got your email address there on the screen, saveourchildrenca@gmail.com. Go ahead, Pam.
90 seconds.
That's the best way to get a hold of me. There's great information on my Facebook page, Save Our Children, OUR. On Twitter, you'll find me at Save the letter R Children, CA. And then I'm also on Parler, founder Pamela Olson, Save Our Children. My email, of course. And right now, that's all I've kind of got because our power situation is so weird that I'm not quite there on the website yet. So that's how you can get a hold of me. You can always get a hold of James. We are here for you as a team.
60 seconds.
We're ending this
Just
together.
As you can see, we're out of time. We're out of time, folks. Thanks so much for looking in. We appreciate our guest, Pamela Olson. We'll be back next week, Lord willing. Pamela, thanks so much. Always great to have you here. Folks, we're just out of time. Appreciate it. James White, Northwest Liberty News and Critical Disclosure. We'll talk to you next time.
Ten seconds.